books from the Joey Pigza trilogy. Okay. Well, that was one of my most famous books that I wrote later on. But let's start at the beginning. I was born on July 2nd, 1951 in Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania. My parents were John Gantos and Elizabeth Gantos. My father was a construction superintendent and my mother was a banker. My sibling was my older sister and my two younger brothers. And in first grade, I was placed in a Bluebird reading group. I didn't know that Bluebird meant for slow readers. I actually thought I was a great reader back then. And I didn't really have a lot of friends, so I would play a game where I would pretend my clothes were on fire. I'd roll down a hill to save myself, and everyone thought I was a weirdo. And I wanted to get my first journal when my sister got one from my mom, and I wanted to be just like her because I looked up to her a lot. So I wrote in my journal every day about the weather and what I ate, just like her. At age 7, we all moved to Barbados, and I went to a British school. The reading and writing were very stressed subjects, but the teachers made learning really fun, even though the school was really competitive. And that provoked me to write more personal info in my journal, including stories and stories about students, things like that. And in 5th grade, we moved to Florida. And at my new school, I found an abandoned bookmobile, so I would sit there and read every day because books were my real friends. And in junior high school, I went to a school that used to be a state prison. And so I still spend my free time reading, and in high school, I aim to be a professional writer. When I went to college, I went there in Boston at Emerson College. And in 1971, I wanted to make money really fast, so I took part in illegal activities. I was offered $10,000 to help sail a boat that was loaded with hashish. And I was the only one caught, so I got sent to prison. And when I was in prison, 2 days later, my strong dream of becoming a writer resurfaced. And so I went for that goal. And once I was released, I pretended that I was starting my life over. And so I went back to Emerson College, and I met my friend, Nicole Rebel, who was an art student. And we teamed up to create picture books together. When we submitted the first book, we received my first rejection letter. I was frustrated, confused, and terrified, and I was about to give up writing. But then I looked from my desk, and I saw my fluffy white cat get into trouble, like he always does. So my cat became my main character to my most popular children's book, Bart and Ralph. In November 11th, 1988 and 1889, I married an art dealer named Anne A. Lower. And we have a daughter named Mabel Grace, and we got a new cat, and she really likes the cat. And I earned my BFA in 1976, the same year Bart and Ralph was published. I became a professor at Emerson when I got my master's degree. I have won awards from New Merit Honor to the Children's Book Showcase Award. And in 1994, I published my first book for the Jack Henry series, which is about my life and what I went through as a child. And in 1998, I published the Joey Pigza series, which is about an 11-year-old boy who goes through trouble with having ADD, and he has barely any friends, and he cuts off a tip of some girl's nose. And I always base my books on my life, what's happening around me, and I write for problems middle school students face and how they feel. And I hope my books influence kids and adolescents in a positive way. And a bit of advice for all of you today is pay attention in school. 90% of what I know I learned in school, and never give up on your dreams, because you can always reach them. Thank you for having me in your classroom.